So please welcome Miss Mette Lykke. So, Mette, you left a secure job, well-paid job, and did this. What was your thoughts at that time?
First of all, we definitely didn't know we wouldn't get paid for 18 months. So not knowing that really helped. Basically, we just wanted to make fitness fun. So there were 3 of us, management consultants. We all had a background in sports, and we thought, 80% of all people want to work out more than they do today. So why not help them find that motivation?
And you went from 0 to 25 million users. What was the key factor to achieve that?
I'll talk a little bit about it, but there wasn't like one key thing. It was just a lot of hard work and a lot of different things and a lot of grassroots work. So every Sunday we would go to whatever races we could find in Denmark, in Sweden, in Germany, and just showcase the product and really explain to people what it did. Of course, people didn't have GPS in their phones, so that was always the barrier. But eventually they got the GPS and it started to make sense.
Okay, the stage is yours.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. The light is so strong here, I can't even tell who's in there, how many are in the audience here, but thanks a lot for having me. It turns out technically, or theoretically at least, my office is only 40 minutes away from here. But I will say my experience was slightly different, thanks to Google Maps. Endomondo and Under Armour Connected Fitness. As was mentioned, we started out back in 2007, wanted to make fitness fun, and quickly realized that technology would be a great lever for achieving that. Then we started thinking about how can we do this. And we knew from the beginning that we wanted to create a social community. So we wanted a personal trainer, but we also wanted a social community. And then we just started knocking on doors to raise some capital. And that was really hard, raising capital. That was actually impossible. But the one piece of valuable feedback we got from these 10 VCs, and that was the only valuable thing we got, I should say. The one valuable piece of advice was to build the training tool first, and then focus on the social community next. Because if the value is in the community itself, you'll never get to a critical mass where you actually have that value. There needs to be something for the first users to come and get. So we started out focusing on that, and then we built the social community on top. And then the third thing here in our approach was really to make it easy for friends to connect and invite, and also make sure that the experience for each user gets better for each friend that they invite, so you have that network effect. And then throughout this process, we continuously listened to feedback and reacted on it. So that's the approach we take, and something a lot of people ask about. I will say it sounds very well thought out. It wasn't necessarily as well thought out back then. When we first launched the service, that was around 9 or 10 months after we left our jobs. And then when we launched, it was just it was a big day for us, obviously. It was during the world's largest running race, which takes place in Copenhagen. And we had a former Danish world champion on 800 meter running with the app, and that was the first official track with Endomondo. And we got really nice media coverage, and a total of 179 users. So it really was slow beginnings. In fact, this is an overview of the daily user uptake 100 days after launch. And these are not millions of users or thousands of users or even hundreds of users. These are just users. So we had full days here, 100 days after launch, with literally 0 new users on the platform. And back then, the way our website was set up was that you could see the last 3 people to sign up. You would see their pictures on the front page. So literally, when we left the office, around midnight, it would be the same 3 faces as when we came in the morning. So it was definitely very uphill in the beginning. and for many, many years. But it still felt right. One constant challenge we've had throughout this journey is that we've never had much money, and we've had a total budget of 0. I think actually to date now, it's been 8 years last week, to date we've spent around $200,000 on getting these 25 million users. But initially it was literally 0. So the marketing mix we used was a combination of app stores, partnerships, social media, and PR. I think one thing that really helped us a lot is that the actions that people have on our platform are actions that a lot of people have an interest in sharing on social media. So people like to post it on Facebook or Twitter if they've been out running. Less so today, but very much so back then. So that generated a lot of free traffic for us. And then we've had a lot of success with app stores. Basically, all distribution today is concentrated. If you look beyond China and India, maybe all distribution is concentrated around Apple's App Store and Google Play. So if you don't win those two, you're really in trouble. We get more than 90% of our users through those two channels. So really optimizing your app for those app stores and having a relationship and making sure that that whole channel is optimized has been super important. And then we've continuously worked on PR. But basically, the combination of these things meant that we suddenly got to an acquisition engine of 30,000 new registered users per day without really paying anything beyond, just our time. So here's our user curve for the first 2.5 years after launch, or almost 3.5 years after we founded the company. It was a really, it was a slow hockey stick, and took a long time to just get to the first million. Then things started to take off, and by January last year, or January this year, we had 19 million users and joined forces with Under Armour, as some of you may have heard about. Under Armour is the second biggest sports brand in the US, and the brand is completely on fire in the US. However, it's not yet as known here in Europe, which is one of the reasons why this acquisition makes sense. Because what Under Armour realized is that for a lot of people, the first handshake they're going to have with the Under Armour brand is going to be digital. It's going to be through one of these now 4 apps, and 3 of these are acquisitions. So MapMyFitness, Endomondo, and MyFitnessPal. In total, we have 153 million users across these platforms. So it really is a huge opportunity for the brand to increase awareness and also eventually convert users into UA customers. The overall brand mission for Under Armour is to make all athletes better. Ours is to help people find the motivation to exercise. So in that sense, we are very aligned, which is also one of the reasons why we thought Under Armour was a great match for us. I think for our employees, it would be harder to get motivated by, say, a tech company's vision, because Under Armour really is, it really is a company of sports people, like we are. And the overall digital vision for Under Armour is to really own health and fitness the way that Facebook today owns social and LinkedIn owns business. No one is really sitting on health and fitness that same way yet, but we will. So from a product perspective, we operate with 4 different types of 4 different product pillars, so to speak. One of them is daily activity. So this is just keeping track of where your whereabouts and your daily steps and how much you move during the day. Then sleep is another one that people don't necessarily link with a sports brand, but it is really important for your health and fitness overall. Sport is the next one, where Endomondo fits in perfectly. Our app can be used for 50 different sports. And then you have nutrition with which is covered by MyFitnessPal, and that's by far the world's #1 nutrition app. So with these 4 product pillars, we're basically able to create a 24/7 experience for the user, and that is the idea that you use one of our products to track your sleep. Then you go for a run in the morning, and you use Endomondo or MapMyRun to track it. You have your breakfast, log that in MyFitnessPal, you get some work done. You can have a look at the record app. You can check out the store on your way home, and you can go to an e-com app or website, and then you have your dinner, and you track that, and finally you can go online at ua.com. So basically, throughout the day, we're going to have multiple touch points, and that's part of the product vision. What this also means is that we are able to gather a lot of data about our users. So longer term, it's likely that we will have chips in everything. We usually say that what we think of as wearables today, 3 or 5 years from now, we'll call apparel. And that's really where the Under Armour and the sports business really becomes one with digital and connected fitness. So imagine that you start having these sensors everywhere in the clothes and the shoes, wherever it is. Then you start getting the data from all of these little chips. So you'll be able to give really, really personal and relevant coaching. And you'll be able to measure pretty much everything we can imagine. And the value is that it's going to be really, really large over time. I think we're still at a stage now where in this industry we've spent quite a few years now on measuring a lot of things and providing people with information about how the data looks and how it's trending. But really the value is going to be in first of all making it completely accurate, but then most of all just being able to use those insights to really give personal and relevant feedback. And here it makes sense to go across, because you can't just, if you want to train for a marathon, it is actually quite relevant what you eat and how you sleep and how active you are in general. So you have to take that holistic view, and that's what we can do with the combination of these apps on one platform. So I didn't grow up with e-commerce, obviously, from a professional perspective, although we did have an e-com shop on Endomondo at one point, but I'm not going to brag about that at all. That was pretty miserable. So having Under Armour taking care of that part of the business model is a huge plus for us, because we were no good at it. We actually had it was a fairly big business for us, but our revenues were our revenue was very small, but we had our own e-com shop, and we shipped everything out of the office. So we literally had boxes against the wall, and it was not pretty, and it was messy, and a lot of issues associated with all those practicalities. But now we don't have to worry about all the boxes and the stamps anymore. So Under Armour is going to take care of that whole piece. Our main job is just to create experiences now that will be engaging still to the users, while also leading people to the e-com platform. And we have one kind of guiding principle here, is that we're in it for the long term. So everything we do must go hand in hand with a good user experience. I think the easiest thing in the world for us, with 153 million email addresses, would be to just carpet bomb those people. And we could probably generate some nice profits from that, but it would be very short-sighted. And we definitely want to make sure that we keep building great digital experience. And that comes first, and then we build e-com on top of that. And the challenge here really is to do it in the right way. But if we do it in the right way, we can really create a much more personal experience than anyone else, because we have a lot more data than anyone else. So We can offer content that's actually relevant to you. We can make sure the communication is relevant. And in general, the experience and the recommendations and the products that we offer you can be completely tailored to you. If we look at the world before connected fitness, when someone enters our store, for example, I mean, we would have a guess at the shoe size and the shirt size, and we would know which store they're in. And we would also get this if they visited our website and started browsing around and putting things in the basket. But we basically wouldn't know much more than this. With our platform, we know everything from biometrics to activity to exercise to nutrition and sleep, and we know how often they run, we know where they run, we even know what kind of travel patterns that user has. So we know what the weather conditions are wherever they're working out. So we can basically offer the running gear and the products that are the most relevant to these users. So the connected fitness has been a huge investment for Under Armour. They've spent a total of 750 million on 3 acquisitions in this space. So one question we get a lot is, how does this make sense? How does this business model work out? So here are just some numbers from the impact over the first 6 months after these last 2 acquisitions. Basically, the brand awareness in these communities as a whole has gone up 3%. And that's including the US. For international, it's actually 8%, which is huge. When you look at how many have purchased something within the past 12 months, that's gone up 29. And then what's interesting is that the average order value is also higher for the connected fitness users than it is for the normal Under Armour user. And this underlines our belief that it's fairly logical. The more you work out, the more gear you're going to need, and the more you're likely to buy from us. So here are just a couple of examples of how you can make these 2 worlds come together in a good way. So one example is a gear tracker. If you're able to log your, this is my Under Armour Gemini shoe, and you're able to log that in the app and say, now I'm running in that shoe again, then we'll keep track of how many miles you've done in that shoe, and we'll tell you when it's time to get a new shoe. And it's not only good for us, because we're going to suggest you get one of our shoes, it's also good for the user, because after 400 miles in a pair of shoes, you're more likely to get injured. So we're really looking for that kind of experiences where you go, is it advertising or is it a service? And ideally it's also a service. So it's not just something that we put in the user's face to get them to convert. You can also imagine gear suggestions based on your planned workouts. So say you have a personal training plan, and we can see that you're now going to have a really long run on Sunday and it's going to snow. Then we can start giving you suggestions that are actually relevant. So overall, ambition going forward is to make great digital experiences and then build this consumer insight platform that will really enable us to amplify the growth of Under Armour as a whole. So lastly, I just want to show you a quick video to give you an idea of where we're going with connected fitness.
Our job is to make you better. To make all athletes better. To inspire you. To empower you. And to connect you to the world's greatest design and innovation. All you must provide is the will to make it happen.
We've had users write support asking where they can get this stuff. It's not available yet, I have to say, but that is where we're going. So thanks a lot for your time.
Any questions from Mikael and Conny?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to connect the dot back to how does the business model work. So for me, are you running the community for Under Armour? Are they capitalizing on these 25 million users, or are you doing it?
So I'm running the community and then working closely on, you know, we have a business model of our own in the communities around subscription revenue and advertising revenue and licensing, those being the 3 revenue drivers. But then e-commerce and activating our users on e-commerce is a 4th revenue driver. And that's something we mainly work on in Connected Fitness. So my organization.
So this is showing about the strength of building a community to your e-commerce business or brand.
Yeah.
But then coming back to your brand per se, can you scale this outside Under Armour?
What do you mean scale this outside Under Armour?
Yes, I mean, would you be able to replicate this for another brand or something else, or is this a dedicated Under Armour feature? Because you have a standalone brand in the app, right?
Yeah, well, given that Under Armour has acquired these apps and these communities, it's unlikely that you'll see them being activated for our competitors. We're gonna make them more and more integrated with Under Armour and build the Under Armour brand awareness as part of still offering great user experiences. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Conny, do you have any question?
I'm very fascinated by this keeping track on customers and keeping track on data and consumer behavior. How well do you think this is accepted by the consumers? Because I can be a bit scared that you can actually see everything I do during the day.
Yeah, and you know, and I think one really important thing is, you know, of course, privacy is a key priority for us. So you can go in today and you can decide exactly what, you know, what privacy settings you want. You can be completely private on the platform, not have everyone see anything you do, and you can, you know, and you can choose not to opt into any of our marketing or emails. So that's completely up to the user.
Super, thank you for
coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.